Children's Church. I'm so glad to have you here with me, and happy Father's Day. Today we are talking about a dad in the Bible. We're talking about dads who go the distance. We're talking about a dad. We're talking about Jesus. We're in the book of Mark, chapter 5, and we're going to jump in at verse 21 because you kind of need the whole story for the context, okay? When Jesus had crossed over again by boat on the other side, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the sea. One of the synagogue leaders named Jairus, or Jairus, I'm not actually sure. I'm going with Jairus because it's fun to say. And when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet and kept begging him, "My little daughter is at death's door. Come and lay your hands on her so she can get well and live." So Jesus went with him. A large crowd was following and pressing against him. A woman suffering from bleeding for 12 years had endured much under many doctors, and she'd spent everything she had and was not helped at all. On the contrary, she became worse. Having heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his robe, for she said, "If I can just touch his robes, I'll be made well." Instantly the blood ceased, and she sensed in her body that she was cured of her affliction. At once Jesus realized in himself that power had gone out of him, and he turned around to the crowd and said, "Who touched my robes?" His disciples said, "You see the crowd pressing against you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" So he looked around to see who had done this. Then the woman, knowing what had happened, came with fear and trembling and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. "Daughter," he said to her, "your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be free from your affliction." While he was still speaking, the people came from the synagogue leader's house and said, "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore?" But when Jesus overheard what was said, he told the synagogue leader, "Don't be afraid, only believe." He did not let anyone accompany him except Peter, James, and John, James's brother. Which means he was probably Jesus' brother, but... When they came to the leader's house, he saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly, and he went in and said, "Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but asleep." They started laughing at him, but he put them all outside. He took the child's father, mother, and those who were with him, and entered the place where the child was. Then he took the child by the hand and said, "Talitha koum," which is translated, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl got up and began to walk. She was around 12 years old. At this they were utterly astounded. He then gave them strict orders that no one should know about this, and said that she should be given something to eat. Why did I pick this lesson for Father's Day? So we know Jairus was a synagogue leader. They were not the biggest fans of Jesus. I don't know if you guys know that. They didn't really like him. Or some of them did. Some of them thought he was blasphemous. So first of all, he was going against what the other synagogue leaders would do. Secondly, he didn't know Jesus. But for his daughter, he went and he found Jesus and he threw himself at his feet to beg him to save his daughter. Jairus was a dad who went the distance, even when other people came to tell him, "Your daughter is dead." But when Jesus said, "Just believe, hold on to the faith you had," Jesus went and raised her from the dead. But to me, this story is more about Jairus because we're not even supposed to know this story. Jesus specifically said, "Don't tell anyone what happened." And one of the disciples wrote it down later, presumably having heard the story from one of the disciples who was with him on that day. Jairus went against what he knew. He went and found a strange man and he begged. Being a synagogue leader was a big deal. I don't think this was a man accustomed to begging, but for his child, this dad went the distance. And he found the greatest healer who ever lived, Jesus. That's all I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about a dad who really went out to find Jesus to help his child, and helped him in more ways than one. They didn't stop believing when the story was over. You don't really come back from the dead and go, "Oh, that didn't happen." It changed their lives forever in more ways than one, in giving them an eternal change. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Remember Jarius, remember his daughter, and remember to wish your dad, your guardian, your uncle, your grandfather, anyone you would like to, a happy Father's Day, and thank them for the part they have in your life. Have a wonderful day.